So today I wanted to talk about the body because I have had some interesting health stuff over the last few years. And I'm sure that's something that most people, probably after a certain age, can relate to. You have pain, you have things that you're worried about. You start to, as you get older, develop a sense of fear around what's going on with your body. And you don't even necessarily have to age into that. Some people from a young age have this real sense of unease around being in a body or having a body, or however you want to word that. There's a sense of like, well, I got to survive, and there's a constant threat to my survival, and I constantly need to be vigilant about all these different things that are threatening my survival. You know, if we really get down to it, when it comes to things like money, that's really a body concern, you know? And especially here in America, a lot of us have health concerns because it costs a lot of money to go to the doctor and things like that. So when you really start to examine and look at most of the things that you're stressed out about or afraid of or freaked out about, most of that has to do with the body. And if we really examine it, it's easy to see that this kind of fear creates an aversion or a resistance to having a body. We sort of resent the fact that we have a body. It can feel burdensome at times, and we go, this whole thing would be easier if I didn't have to deal with all this stuff that I have to deal with because I'm carrying around this body everywhere that I go, right? I got to keep it clean. I got to keep it fed. I got to keep it healthy. I got to do all this stuff. And that can become very stressful if we feel like we're not dealing with it well. So just take a moment right now to get a sense of whatever your body thing is, right? Like, do you enjoy having a body? Do you enjoy this experience of embodying on planet Earth in this particular physical reality as it shows up for you? Do you enjoy that most of the time? Or do you find yourself at odds with that most of the time? Do you find yourself worried about that most of the time, afraid of that most of the time? You know, dwelling on it in, like, is it a to-do? Is it difficult? Is it easy? Is it fun? What is it for you? And what are some areas where you would like to improve the experience that you're having, or you'd like to enjoy the experience that you're having more? And let's make a distinction between those two things, right? Is there a difference between improving your experience and enjoying your experience more? A lot of us go, well, yeah, if I were to improve my experience, I would enjoy it more. And that's probably true. But is it possible to enjoy your experience more, whether it improves or not? Is it a possibility for you right now, exactly as things are, to enjoy things a little bit more than you have been? It's just a choice that is available for us to make, that we can go for if we want to. So are you making that choice every day? Just as a practice, you know, you don't have to work hard at this. You don't have to go and do a million exercises to get this right. You don't have to figure this out. This is really easy, and it's free, and it costs you nothing. Is any bad going to come of you enjoying your life more? Probably not. But hold on a second. Have you had experiences in your life that make you believe that if you cut loose a little bit and you enjoy things more, that things might start to go wrong? Do you have fears, conscious or unconscious, that if you were to be a little bit happier, things might go wrong? And do you see, here again, that's tied to having a body. Really, most of the things that you worry about, you probably wouldn't worry about if you didn't have a body. If you were just energy, that was everywhere all at once, and you didn't have to deal with this physical form that manifests itself in this way, and other people's impression of your physical form, and all this stuff, most of the things that you stress out about on a day-to-day basis would probably be a non-issue. And if we look at a lot of the religions, a lot of the spiritualities, a lot of the different ways of thinking about what life is and what existence here on planet Earth is, a lot of them look at the body as a vessel that is very prone to suffering and very prone to sin. And there's a lot of shame that builds up in different ways of thinking about existence towards the physical body. And even if you're not religious in any way, you still probably grew up in a society that was informed and inspired by certain religions. Like here in the United States, we have freedom of religion. You can practice whatever religion you want as long as it's not negatively affecting anyone. And for some of the religions, you can get away with negatively affecting people for a very long time, as long as you're part of that religion. But even though we have this freedom of religion, and it's a diverse landscape of different beliefs and philosophies, the way the United States is structured is inspired by a Judeo-Christian viewpoint. A lot of the values in the United States are inspired by Judeo-Christianity. So even if you're atheist, what you believe is right and good and morally correct has probably, whether you care to admit it or not, been inspired by religion. And as I say, a lot of the religions have this underpinning of the body's not the perfect vessel. The body tempts us to sin. Sins of the flesh. All this different stuff. It's very dense and psychologically and spiritually complex and complicated. And that's running in the background even if we're not thinking about any of this stuff on a day-to-day basis. And certainly, the further you go back in time, the more people were impacted by these traditional, classical, religious ideas. So, look at your parents and see, when I was growing up, what were my parents' perspectives on having a body? Both of my parents had a very difficult relationship to having a body. I'm sure both of them would self-report that they really enjoyed it. But for both of them, I could observe areas where they had a real difficulty having a body and dealing with their body and being in their body. And my mother in particular had cancer for over a decade. So you witness that as a young person, and you start to internalize a lot of fear because you think, well, based on what science tells me and all this stuff, that's probably going to happen to me too. And it's really, for her, it was really horrible. So for me, it's probably going to be really horrible. And you start to think about all the different things you'd have to do to avoid that. And it becomes a very stressful conversation, right? Like it becomes very heavy very quickly. As soon as I just bring that up, I'm sure you can feel, probably in your world, it's not a great thing to hear about. It's not a great thing to think about. It feels bad, right? And so look at that for a second. When you think about poor health, when you think about dying, you start to feel worse. You start to feel closer to those ideas. You have a resistance to those ideas. And as soon as you hear about them, you start pushing back on them. And you'd rather not go there. And I'm not saying you should go there. I don't want to go there either. I don't want to get sick and die. That sounds terrible. But when you put that resistance up, you can feel you're in sort of compromised position because you're going, oh, I don't want to feel that. And most of us have the point of view that we don't know how to deal with those things, that our body is not strong enough to deal with those things, that our inner psychology is not strong enough to deal with those things, that if those things happen to us, we're going to have to go to the doctor, we're going to have to spend all of our money, we're going to have to go to the guru or the medicine man, we're going to have to go anywhere but here to get the solution to that, and it's probably going to cost us everything we have to stay alive, right? That's a point of view that a lot of us have, even if we don't admit that. And how fun is life when you are spending most of it going, God, if I get sick, my life is over. I got to work, and I got to survive, and I got to provide, and I got to be responsible. And boy, if I get sick, the whole thing is just going to fall apart without me, right? Like it's no wonder people get burnt out and people get fatigued and people get all these kind of mystery illnesses that seem to have no solution. It's like you almost want to get sick just so you can skip to the part where you get to take a break. And again, as I'm talking about these heavier subjects, it doesn't feel good. But we dwell in that space constantly because the people we grew up around were dwelling in that space constantly. And if we were very, very lucky, they might have also shown us positive examples of enjoying the body. If your parents liked to dance, if your parents liked to sing, if your parents played sports, if your parents, did something with their body that they enjoyed, that may have left an impression on you. But for all of us, I think it's like our parents probably gave us, more than we would even care to admit, a pretty negative impression of what life having a body is, right? Like, wanting you to wear certain clothes, wanting you to style your hair a certain way, wanting you to, which are all like positive things when you think about it, right? Like hygiene and self-care are incredibly positive things. But when you have somebody bearing down on you and saying, you have to do this or people are going to hate you and stuff like that, it's like, man, this having a body thing is a real to-do. I might be better off not doing this. So how do we start to unravel all of that and get to a place where we have a genuine appreciation for having a body, just being with the body? If we could take 1 second per day where we go, man, I really like this. This is okay. Where we're not, most of us are caught in a loop of like, I'm not 100% satisfied with what I look like. I'm not 100% satisfied with how much I weigh. I'm not 100% satisfied with what other people see when they see me, even though I have no idea what other people see when they see me. I just know what I think they see when they see me, and I think it's probably pretty bad, right? Like, we all have these concerns. How does it feel? How does it look? How does it perform in various scenarios? Like, we have all these considerations. And for most of us, it probably comes up wanting a lot of the time. I wish I felt better. I wish I looked better. I wish I looked as good as I used to. Whatever it is. And it's so pervasive everywhere that even the people that you look at and think they've got it so much better than you in some way, they're secretly going crazy about the exact same subjects. They're not telling you, but privately they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I look like this. I can't believe I feel like this. I'm in hell. So the way we start to unravel that is to just, if we can provide ourselves with 1 moment every day, and I know this is very similar to what I've already said in previous videos, but this bears repeating every single day. If you spend 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes on this kind of thing per day, your life will change exponentially in terms of how much you enjoy it, right? The circumstances might be exactly the same. I'm not going to tell you that by watching YouTube videos, you're suddenly going to be a billionaire. by doing nothing else. Although, could. But your appreciation of what your life is can go up without you having to take any external action whatsoever. That is a choice. Whatever shows up, whatever I feel, whatever things look like, I'm going to try to enjoy it a little more than I did yesterday. Whatever's showing up, I'm going to try and enjoy things a little more than I have. And particularly look at the things that are showing up that you don't enjoy. And see if there's anything about that that you can enjoy. If you're in a bunch of debt, right? Who on earth would enjoy that? But that is exactly why we should try. Because most people are in debt, and what do? They stress out about it. They freak out about it. They dwell on it constantly. Does the debt get paid off from stress? No. The debt gets paid off by paying the debt off, right? But can you enjoy paying the bills? Can you enjoy these maintenance activities that you believe you have to do? Because if you don't do them, your life is going to fall. Can you enjoy that stuff? If you feel like your life is falling apart, can you enjoy that? As crazy as that sounds. Because you could have no life at all. You could not be here. You could not be experiencing this incredible, miraculous thing that no one on earth can explain. No one can explain how what is happening in your head is happening in your head. They have ideas, they have theories, they have the beginnings of the frame, but they can't truly explain how you have consciousness and exactly how your consciousness works and exactly what effect your consciousness has on the world around you. And it's great that they can't explain it, because that means you get to explore. How does my consciousness affect my body? How does my consciousness affect the world around me? What can I do? What can I explore? What can I play around with that has never occurred to anybody else? What am I capable of that other people don't even know exists? So when it comes to the body, is your body different? You are inundated, I am sure, if you use a smartphone or a computer. You are inundated by ads telling you different ways to fix your body, different things that are wrong with your body, and different ways to fix it. And if you have a headache one day and you go and Google how to fix your headache, you will notice that every ad you receive suddenly tells you what kind of disease you have based on the headaches you're having and what you need to take in order to fix that disease. And it will make you nuts if that's all you're listening to. And you will spend a lot of money on people telling you they have the solution who have no idea who you are or what you need. So be present right now with your consciousness. Your consciousness is always here. It's unceasing. Even when you're asleep, some part of you is aware that you are asleep. And you know, when you have dreams, your consciousness is creating those dreams. Your consciousness is the vehicle through which you experience everything around you. And attached to your consciousness is this body that you've probably had some pretty mixed feelings about, if you're like anybody else. So be present with your consciousness right now and see, how can I expand my consciousness around my body right now? However my body has felt, however I've treated my body, whatever judgments I have of it, however I feel about it, is there something greater I can expand towards? Is there something I already am? Because the consciousness is already here. You don't have to go seek that out. You don't actually have to unlock that or open that up in any particular way. It's already here. You are already connected to the all, right? However you spiritually want to look at that, or metaphysically or philosophically, it doesn't make any difference. You are already connected to everything. And most of the religions will point to that. They may point to that in some very shame-inducing ways, but that's what they're trying to point to, that everything exists of the same material. And science will more or less tell you that as well, that everything is composed of the same basic material. It obviously starts to differentiate as you get further and further out, but at the smallest level, everything is animated of the same material. And so, before you get into your judgments about the body, who you think you are based upon the body, the diagnosis that you have about the body, be present right now just with the fundamental energy that composes everything, that composes your body. Before you start putting labels on it, before you start feeling bad about it, be present with the basic energy. And you will experience a very profound and miraculous healing. Perhaps not in the way that you think. Perhaps not in the way that you believe you need to be shown. But just letting go of everything running in your head about what you think your body is and what you make of your body, and just being present with the basic material, the energy, starts to profoundly shift things that you don't think you can profoundly shift. If you've got any kind of health issue, and this, I'm not a doctor, and I don't want to be, so this is not medical advice of any kind. But if you have a disease, or you have a diagnosis, or you have anything that you're struggling with on a physical level, go to it, and go to it before it becomes that. Go to just the energy of it before you decide that it's bad, and you decide that it's killing you, and decide that there's something wrong with you. Just go to the energy of it. And just be there. And see. Before it becomes the diagnosis, before it becomes the disease, before it becomes the problem that you've been told that it is, that you've decided it is, that you're struggling with. Just go to the energy on the level that there is no struggle. Be present with the energy in this space where everything is just infinite and it doesn't need to be a fight. You're not suffering from anything. You're having an experience, right? And if you have somehow, consciously or unconsciously, created an experience for yourself where you feel sick, where you feel pain, where you feel disease, you think disease, you believe disease, how tremendously do you judge yourself for that? And is that judgment, that shame, that beating yourself up for being sick, that beating yourself up for letting your health get to this place, whatever your feeling is about whatever you're dealing with, Be with that before it becomes that. Be in this infinite space where everything is, and you're not sick, and you're not unhealthy, and there's nothing wrong with you, and you're not dying, and there's nothing to be afraid of. And you have a very different experience when you remind yourself that you are in this place. It's not that you don't ever go to the doctor ever again or take care of yourself when you need to take care of yourself. It is that your relationship to those things are not so weighed down by fear and terror and mania. You allow yourself to strip away the fear that has been given to you. When you're very, very young, you don't know all of these things that you're supposed to be afraid of. If they leave you in your crib alone, you're probably a little afraid. You're probably screaming your head off. But you don't know as an infant that you need to be afraid about cancer. You don't know that you need to be afraid of somebody chasing you down the street. You don't know that you need to be afraid of a car crash. You don't know that there's no phobia to a very young person. That develops once you start to define the world around you. So allow yourself to go to this place that you already are, where everything just is, and there is no need for fear. And whatever you're dealing with is not that. Whatever you're dealing with is not what you've decided it is. Go to the place before you decide anything about what your life is. And you see, it's very easy to go there. It might seem difficult in these moments where you're very high strung because you have these things that you're stressed out about. But it's only because nobody has ever told you, hey, you exist inside of this space, and you have this space inside of you where everything is perfectly beautiful and radiant and easy. And it just exists, and you don't have to do anything about it. You don't have to do anything to be there. You don't have to do anything to go there. You just are that. Very few people in your life have probably told you that. And they certainly probably haven't told you that in moments of crisis. They've probably told you that however much you're freaking out about the crisis that you think you're having, you should probably freak out more. Right? Most people in your life probably encourage you to be even more stressed out than you already are. And you certainly have whole mechanisms of media that are designed to get you more high-strung, to put you in a position where you're more willing to buy nonsense that you don't need. And so just be in the place before all of that exists. The place before any of that is a problem. All of that exists. But before it is this thing that we have all these thoughts and feelings and associations with, it's just energy. And it's just vibrating, or whatever you want to say. And it's just alive. And it doesn't need anything from you. It doesn't require you to fix it. It's not broken. And understand that every cell in your body is animated by this energy. So just open the flow of this energy throughout your whole body, whether you feel like that's happening or not. You don't have to feel it. You don't have to think it's working. You don't have to believe it. It is there, right? Even if your mind were to completely shut down and you didn't have any more thoughts and you didn't have any more beliefs and you didn't have any more feelings, this force that animates everything would still be there. So you don't have to believe it. You don't have to practice it. It is already. And it is already quite miraculously. So, one more time before we close out here, just be with your body and appreciate it in a totally different way than you ever have. Appreciate this experience of embodying on planet Earth in a totally different way than you ever have. Whatever you've been resisting about embodying here on planet Earth, just let that dissolve. Let that strip away. Uncover what is underneath that. Be with the energy underneath all of these things that you think and feel and believe about your life. Just be. And notice that it's different. Even if your thoughts are the same as when you started watching this, even if there are sensations in your body that haven't left you, you're giving yourself an experience of a different awareness, of a heightened awareness. You have this incredible consciousness and awareness of everything around you all the time. And most of us compress it and we focus on certain things, and most of us focus on things we don't like so we can try and fix them, so we can eventually, maybe, hopefully one day, get to a consciousness and awareness that we like. And how's that working? Whereas if you just shift your awareness and your consciousness to a state of enjoyment, you don't have to fix anything. There's this extraordinary weight off your shoulders that you don't have to fix anything, that nothing is broken, that nothing is wrong, that everything is as it is for you to enjoy and for no other reason. So, I leave you with that. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was helpful. I just want to say I hate doing stuff like this, but I'm going to do it anyway. If you guys are benefiting from this in any way, if you could like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff, help me work this YouTube algorithm thing a little bit more, that would be incredible, because I love doing this and I'm going to do it all the time, regardless of what the response is, because it helps me. But the engagement is great. So if you can like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you've got stuff that you are dealing with, that you want help with, topics that you'd like me to discuss, I'm not an expert on anything. I'm not an authority on anything. But I want to help you guys. I am happier when I am helping other people. So if there's anything I can help you with, write it down in the comments, and I'll be glad to discuss it. All right, guys, thanks so much. And again, just be where you're at and see if you can enjoy it a little bit more than you have been. Bye-bye.